Hey, what's up, guys? Pat here, and I am back again. I know it's been a bit, but you know how it is in the hashtag ban mecha meta. It's a little bit stale, but I wanted to give you guys, another brew that I've been working on. Again, I know it's Zamasu, and you guys are probably like sick to death at this point, but I really want to try and make it as good as I possibly can in the meta, and I refuse to, give up and try and find something that can counter mecha. So I'll show you guys that in a little bit, but first things first, I want to go over some announcements. We're almost at 500 subs in the channel, so I just want to thank you guys for all the love and support you guys have given me, especially since the start of set 3. I see some of the comments you guys message me on Facebook, and then some of the things I see on other people's streams, and you guys are way too kind to me, so I do appreciate all the love and support. So again, thank you. Second off, we went to the ARG New Jersey States in Newark, New Jersey this past weekend, and while we didn't we didn't win it all, we did get this nice mat courtesy of, I guess, ARG. I finished second place, so even though it wasn't a win, at least I got second, so I can prove I'm no slouch. Congrats to Jordan Silver for his win. He played SS3 Goku. I just don't know the matchup against his deck. I just, completely punted game 1, and then game 2. He just, he outplayed me pretty hard. So, again, congratulations to him. He's a fantastic player, especially for someone his age. And I assume he's only going to get better with time. So, next thing I want to, highlight is we will be doing a deck doctor with later tonight with me and Dusty. So if you guys are trying to get some feedback on your decks, I'm sure Dusty will mention something on the Facebook group, but you guys can leave stuff in the comments below. Link me either a DBS deck or a Shenron's Lair deck, and let me know what you guys might be interested in seeing fixed. And if I don't get to it on the stream, and I will try to fix it up and shoot you guys back a message and help you guys out with that. Alright, so that will be later tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. For those of you guys, I think it's 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, you can tune into the the Kitchen Table Meta stream tonight, and you'll be able to find me on there. Twitch.tv/Kitchen Table Meta. I'll link it down in the description below. And then finally, we mentioned decks. You can now go to Shenron's Lair, which is where I've been putting out most of my brews in it now. If you go to Decklists here at the top, and Community Deck Builders with Matt's wonderful looking face right here in the center, and then you can find me over here on the right, Pat O'Neill, and you'll see I've listed a bunch of decks for you guys. This is just the stuff that I've, there's obviously some private decks as well, but this is the stuff I basically released to the public, so you guys can find the builds and the brews that I think are kind of finished, and you guys can take for a spin at your locals or even a regional and try your luck with it. You'll also see that I have some set 1 decks here. These are just optimized set 1 decks for those players in Europe, Australia, and even other parts of the world. And somebody messaged me from Costa Rica actually asking for help since they just got their cards. You can find example decks for these metas because these metas are basically solved. But yeah, the build I want to show you guys today is this ZamaFu 3.0 deck, which I've been working on because as cool as the original concept of ZamaFu was, it was too slow, so I needed to make it a bit faster with Ultra Instinct, and that was countered too hard by heavy sideboarding from the mecha decks. So what we ended up doing was now just taking a deck that literally from top to bottom is filled with threats that demand Cold Bloodlust answers, and if they don't have it, you out tempo them really hard. So I give you guys now ZamaFu 3.0. This is the one that I've been working on for about like 2 weeks now, and I think it's in a really good spot right now. So going over the leader, you guys already know, you can choose a life, discard it. If it's blue, you draw a card. Since this is now a 2 to 3 color deck, we don't use this effect anymore. So you only really use this if you need to push yourself from 3 to 2 to avoid a triple strike, or from 2 to 1 to just get the random chance to draw, so you can flip to get more answers. You use it much more infrequently than you used to. I found myself losing far too often by accidentally critting myself when it wasn't necessary, just to try and get the 1 card. I don't think that's the right way to play the deck anymore. The decks are just simply too fast in this format and hit too hard. Every life point is precious. The main reason we're playing Zamasu is for his mill 10 with Rose, as well as his huge life bar, and then the backside, obviously you guys already know what that does. So moving on to the blue cards, Energy Boost Majin Buu. It's just a cantrip. I found that having a lot more cantrips in the deck allows us to find the cards and the combos we need much easier. And it also helps with our zero cost 5k combo count, which is very important in this format, because you want to become, you want to be, you don't want to tap out, but you want to come as close to tapping out as possible, because the speed of mecha decks are so fast that you need to have these 0-5Ks. You need to have a sizable amount of them to be able to defend yourself while tapped out or almost tapped out. Yajirobe is back at 4, even though I said that Shugesh into Kid Goku was, an answer to it, and people would mainboard Goten. That's fine. I found that if people are going to Shugesh Goku me, or they're going to spend one energy for Goten, they're not marching. They're not going to do like any other zany plays. So I'm like totally okay with that. Kale is obviously still a big problem for this card. But again, it's just, you have to choose Yajirobe instead of something else more precious on the board. So he's been basically putting in work still, and even though I said I think I would cut him in testing, he's still just that good. Because if people aren't prepared, he still just stalls out the game until we can get our combo and win. Objection, you already know, we're playing 6-drop combos. We need to get there quickly. That's also just for blue count. Kibito Kai. I've actually debated going to 4 Piccolos or 2-2 split. I'm still not sure. I still think Kibito Kai mathematically is better than Piccolo. One of the main reasons I see a lot of people say that they like Piccolo over Kibito Kai is that if your opponent literally plays Shugesh and nothing else, Piccolo is better than Kibito Kai. But in every other situation, Kibito Kai is better, and I'd rather have the card that is better more often than not. So again, it's personal preference. You can play Boost Attack Piccolo. I'm not going to fault you for it. Mighty Striker Gohan. So this is a really controversial pick. I'm assuming some of you guys are going to be quite surprised. This kind of requires me to explain, the choice card for Haru Haru in the main board. So Haru Haru is just a really, really strong card against Mecha because it's basically free. You can play stuff like a Majin Buu and then pay, 3 for Haru Haru and basically untap all of the energy you just spent, and you'll get to draw a card, set up an Overwhelm play, as well as have a 15k critical. Being able to match the board presence of Mecha Veggies or being able to go wider than apes is pretty much the key way to kill Mecha in this format. You only really need to get through for 2 to 3 damage because they do the rest of it themselves. So being able to have Haru Harus that exhaust blockers, or get rid of Shugeshes, or even get rid of Cold Bloodlust, so that way you can't untap and keep extending your play further and further, is a huge win-win. Obviously, if you're not playing against Mecha and you go up against SS3, this is like the first card you side out. But it's just an absolute tempo monster. As soon as they added 4 of this, I saw an immediate, advantage in the matchup. So that goes hand in hand here with Mighty Striker Gohan. So your average line of play is going to be 1 drop, or leave 1 drop open, or 1 energy open to use defend. 2 drop, you either Yajirobe or Objection, and if you Objection, you're going to want to go turn 3 Buu, Haru Haru, untap Mighty Striker Gohan, and the amount of pressure that you put on your opponent with just that one play is pretty huge. 25k is larger than all of the apes, so it basically demands a 10k pump, or they're going to take 2 to the face or to save their ape. So yeah, he's basically in the sweet spot, and like I said earlier, you only need 2 to 3 damage to actually kill somebody in this format. So he's just big. He's not even that bad in other matchups, just because he's just a huge body. I wouldn't fault you for siding him out. I actually have cards to exchange him for in the sideboard when I'm not playing in the Mecha matchup, but he does a lot of heavy lifting. I know it seems like I'm insane for recommending you play a 4-drop vanilla, but he is literally the right stats and does just enough damage that Mecha feels incredibly threatened by this card and will actually waste, attacks trying to get rid of it and cards out of their hand trying to get rid of this. And then you can just next turn be like, okay, in that case, cool. I'm going to play another Buu, another Haru Haru, and then another Mighty Striker Gohan. And yeah, you understand why. Joyful, he's part of our combo piece. We added more combos with him in the deck. You'll see that up here we have these two different Fu packages. Fu Shrouded in Mystery is the OG combo with Rose. So obviously that is still the centerpiece of the deck. However, by cutting him down from 3 to 2 or 4 to 2, it allows us to play these two Scientist Fus, which does a couple of things. One, it makes our matchup against green hand control, like green SS3 Goku, a little bit better. Hedges us, hedges our bets, gives us better percentage of winning that matchup. It also, I found that I was getting about 6 to 7 cards in my discard pile before I even awakened, so I had the opportunity to, for 1 mana, get a 25k double strike leader, helped maintain card advantage off of it, and then I would still just play Rose, get 10 more, and play this food later on. So like it doesn't even really interfere with the deck at all. It kind of just curves out naturally. In fact, it gives you another line of play where you can now play Rose, untap 6, play something like Har Har or Mighty Striker Gohan and Fu, and still have mana up for negates. So yeah, the fact that you have now more impactful plays with it, it's just absolutely, it's way better than it used to be in the deck. Like, it was already a good card. Now it's arguably one of the best cards in the deck. And if they burned all of their, negates, their Cold Bloodlust on things like Haru Haru and Scientist Fu early on, then Rose just becomes an absolute monster. And if they're not negating those cards early to try and stave off this and this for later, then again, like you have so much advantage on them. Your board's just gonna be so wide. They're gonna be like, man, I can't believe I let him resolve like 3 or 4 creatures. Yellow package. The yellow package is here because we're just tired of Cold Bloodlust, and also one of this card basically. Nimbus is one of the best cards in the entire format. Being able to Nimbus somebody is almost akin to time walking them. They almost immediately have to pass their turn if you hit them with this correctly. I used to play 2 coercions in the deck, so Flying Nimbus, discard a yellow coercion, basically forces an auto pass, depending on how they sequence their attacks, especially against Mass Saiyan, who usually tries to attack leader first. It's just an absolute blowout. That's why it's at 4. Yeah, it's a time walk. Speaking of time walks, Crusher Ball, it's good against Pan because you can Crusher Ball the chain attack Trunks, so it's less value, but it's mostly here for March of the Apes. If they march and you Crusher Ball it, that almost immediately causes a turn pass. That in itself warrants its price. It obviously gets worse as the game goes on, but regularly I leave 1 mana open, 1 yellow mana on turn 1, and leave either the Nimbus or the Crusher Ball option in case my opponent is playing Mecha and hits the absolute nuts. So yeah, this is basically our defensive package in the deck, and it has worked absolutely amazingly in testing, as well as the tournament that I went and took this to yesterday. Battering Laser, it's at 1. You can side a second one. It's just for if you're really afraid of Bloodlust, but I found in testing that 2 is too clunky. 1 still comes in the clutch most of the time, and I find that people are burning through Bloodlust on a lot of different things in this deck now, that I only really need the 1 laser for the Fu Shrouded in Mystery, and like all my mid game plays, like where Ultra Instinct used to suffer and be terrible if we got Bloodlusted, a lot of my other plays now, they just feel good when they get Bloodlusted, and if they don't get Bloodlusted, I just value out. So it's just awesome. 4 Youthful Bulma, just again, it's another Majin Buu, gets us the cards we need. It's also really great for helping our 5k account for comboing, and then also cantrips. It's always good. 2 Planetara Mecha Frieza. So this one is the newest card that was added to the deck, and it used to be 2 Whis' Coercion, but Nimbus did such a good job and Crusher Ball did such a good job that I didn't even think I needed Coercion. It just got charged every game, so I decided let's just go more aggressive, more control-y here. So we added just another 20k double strike that threatens Mecha, and if they don't Bloodlust this guy when he comes into play, you can just snatch that explosive Son Goku out of their hand and put it into play tapped, and your leader can just pick it off if you want. But like, that is another form of removal, another piece to their whole setup that's frustrating to play against, just gone. And even if you don't choose something like Goku to get it out of the way, there are also times where you could get like a Shigesh and it's just great value, but that's few and far between. But knowing if your opponent has a handful of extra cards playing against Mecha, like that gives you a pretty good read on whether or not you can be aggressive or not. And then on top of that, just information is always good. Like if they don't bloodlust this and then you see they have the bloodlust, then you know that you can just play around it. You know that they have it and they're just waiting for you to do something ridiculous. So you can just, again, it's more information for you to make more informed plays. Just really awesome card. I've always liked this card. And then finally, the most absolute off the wall card in testing has been Absolute Defense Great Ape King Vegeta. Yeah, I know it seems like insane, but it's a similar logic to Mighty Striker Gohan. If you drop this guy on turn 4 after Gohan, this card is big enough that it demands an answer, because it's again, mecha players usually go to 3 relatively quickly. This is 2 damage to their 3 life. It's bigger than all of the apes. They cannot Shigesh Explosion it, so they can't really get rid of it easily. And then on top of that, it makes all of these Mighty Striker Gohans and all of these Joyfuls in your hand free to combo with. So when you go something like Joyful into Absolute Defense Great Ape King Vegeta into Scientist Fu in one turn, like, and trust me, that has happened. It's happened multiple times. I've done it to multiple people yesterday in a tournament. It does happen. That is such an absurd, tempo swing, and you don't even care that you basically tapped out to do it on 6, because you can still combo every single card in your hand except for like Fu, Shrouded, and Mystery. It's just a beating. Like, so now, like, we have this strategy of we can either kill you with Rose into Fu, or we can just chain Roses into things like Mighty Strikers and Great Ape King Vegetas and Scientist Fus and Harus, and like the amount of plays that you can just get and keep extending, just bonkers. And then if you already have this guy in play and you do go for the original Shrouded and Mystery combo, you can shotgun so easily because everything in your hand is free to combo with. He's just, I never thought I would say it, but like King Vegeta might actually end up being the answer to himself, because 25k hexproof double strike beater that makes everything free in your hand to combo with, it's just as hard for mecha to deal with as it is for non-mecha decks to deal with. So yeah, there you go. That is the new and improved brew. I'm still tweaking it just a little bit more, but I think for a main deck, a main 50, this feels so incredibly good. The only thing I'm like still just tweaking is these slots, and I don't know if I want them to go Coercion or like Piccolo the Strategist, but this 50 card setup just feels so good, and it is so explosive. Like, you just give this a whirl. If you play against the yellow leader, the amount of tempo you get out of this, and you're playing ZamaFu, you'll swear you're playing 14 life Mass Saiyan. I'm not even messing with you. So yeah, that is the deck. Hopefully you guys check it out. Check us out later on tonight on the Kitchen Table Meta stream. And as always, if you enjoy the video, give me a like, leave me a comment, and I will catch you guys in the next video.